The music and the performance and the fashion are one. I don't separate my art from my life. It is one whole thing.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Tom.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Patrick, and this is Chewing on Pearls, the show where we dissect and decipher Lady Gaga's chameleon career and its impact, one pearl at a time.
So we're back. We're back again, continuing our series discussing each of the Born This Way era music videos. Thank you for your patience in allowing us to complete this series at the pace that we need to. We did throw the most fabulous party in the history of humanity, so as discussed in our last episode. So I'm sure you understand.
The incredible photos by our good Judy Wan are up on the website, so go check them out.
Go check out our website. We redid one or two of the pages. So yeah, let's get into it. You and I is the fourth official single from Born This Way, a pop rock country inspired ballad that details a perfectly imperfect, somewhat tumultuous romantic relationship. Written by Gaga and produced by both Gaga and Robert John Lang, it was first played live during the Black and White Ball, as well as the Monster Ball ahead of Born This Way's release. Gaga never thought it would be a single, given its rock influences.
The song samples We Will Rock You by Queen, utilizing the iconic stomp stomp clap beat. It also features a guitar solo by Queen guitarist Brian May. In the US, the song debuted at number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100, later gaining traction to reach number 16 after her iconic MTV VMA performance as Jo Calderone, and finally peaking at number 4 after much push for radio play. Gaga recorded alternate takes of the My Daddy and Nebraska and Jesus Christ lyric, filling in different state names for localized radio play. Insert the compilation of her singing
Right.
every single
We're like,
fucking
Illinois.
Yeah. She's like, Boston, Massachusetts, I love you.
Yeah.
For like Kiss 108, yeah.
The video was filmed in July 2011 in Springfield, Nebraska, and features an assortment of Gaga alter egos, including Jo Calderone and Yüyi the mermaid, as well as personas developed and designed specifically for the video, including the nymph, the bride, barn hooker, and mother. So let's get into these credits. The video, of course, stars the one and only Lady Gaga, directed by Lorianne Gibson and Lady Gaga, choreography by Lorianne Gibson, styling Nicola Formichetti, hair by Freddie Aspiris, beauty Val Garland, Ding Dong Darling. The director of photography was Maz Makani, and the co-stars, of course, were Taylor Kinney as the mad scientist lover man, and Christina Grady as Gaga's body double, which we'll get into.
The video was released on August 16th, 2011, 2 days prior to its scheduled release on MTV, when Gaga decided to premiere the video on her own YouTube channel instead. The video was her 1,000th tweet, paired with a caption that read, "You must love all and every part of me, as must I, for this complex and incomprehensible force to be true." The video currently has over 186 million views on YouTube.
One of my favorite Gaga tweets of all time.
Yeah.
Narratively, the video depicts Gaga on a long journey from New York City to find her lover in Nebraska. Regarding the video concept, Gaga said, quote, "I'm walking with no luggage and no nothing, and it's just me, and my ankles are bleeding a little bit, and there's grass stuck in my shoes, and I've got this outfit on, and it's real sort of New York clothing, and I'm sprinting." And the video is about the idea that when you're away from someone you love, it's torture. I knew I wanted the video to be about me sprinting back and walking hundreds of thousands of miles to get him back. The video also features a sub-narrative depicting a mad scientist, again portrayed by Taylor Kinney, attempting to transform Yüyi the mermaid.
The video received critical acclaim, with Rolling Stone stating that the best moments of the video put a distinctly Gaga-ish spin on the iconography of Americana and traditional love stories, as well as MTV noting clear references to Gaga's personas from the past music videos in the present.
Yeah. Should we get into it, or should we get into House of You?
Well, I think let's get into House of You because it's a good way to start talking about the persona. So, in
Hmm.
conjunction with the video, Gaga tweeted on September 1st, 2011. She announced on her Twitter account that she had shot 5 fashion films related to the music video of the song with Dutch photography duo Inez and Vinude. After the tweet, Gaga released the first video titled House of You featuring Nymph. So, and as Vinud went on to say, we built a studio in a pigsty and worked for 3 days with her, constantly coming off set to us and filming with us and taking pictures. What's incredible in there is that this is Gaga as herself and the character that she is related to the You and I video, and it's purely her. She asked us to make these videos as a bridge between fashion and rock and roll. And since both are kind of equally important for her as an inspiration and starting point, she really said to us, do your thing, do what you would do in a fashion context, let's say, but relate it to the characters that Gaga was in You and I. So the personas are
Well, we know Jo
hold on.
Calderone
Yes,
and Yüyi
yes.
the mermaid, and then there's the nymph, the
The
bride,
nymph, the
barn
bride.
hooker, and mother. I do want to jump right in and say I think that this video is incredibly mayhem coded. It's incredibly
Yeah.
disease coded. This to me, You and I is the precursor to the disease video.
Mm,
In that, of course, through fashion, through beauty, through hair, through acting and vocalization, we at this point in Gaga's career had gotten so many characters and alter egos already.
mm,
But I feel like in the You and I video, it's so pressed on, and
mm.
really these characters are really delineated as different facets of Gaga herself.
Mm.
And I think that's an interesting thing to explore. And that's why it's so important to touch on the House of You thing. They were so important to her that she also wanted to explore them in this isolated fashion context as
Right,
well.
and document them each as their own character and version of her.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we're not going to break down the official fashion credits. We'll talk looks, but we're not going to drop names. But if you want to check out the credits in all of their glory, go to lamaisongaga.com as always. Props to you, mama.
So let's get into this little bit of narrative here, because I want to go on record and say that the opening of this video, the look that Gaga is in, which she deems the bride, with this big black hat and kind of like a pantsuit with an exposed bra and long hair and these bionic robotic facial pieces and arm piece. I don't even know what to call it. Is one of my favorite Gaga looks of all time. And again, I do feel like is a precursor to the Mistress of Mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
And we see her ripping this shredded skin off of her ankles that are so bloody, and she kind of happens upon in this very Cher beauty moment. I always think she looks so much like Cher here.
Yeah.
No eyebrows, no eye makeup, just a cunty lip. She happens upon this ice cream truck where this kind of creepy man is giving her ice cream, and there's music with weird laughter in the background. It's Gaga in her I love horror movies bag.
Yeah, totally.
And about that opening, she said, I've talked about some of it before with all of you, but I've had some really intense experiences when I was younger, some of which I have shared with all of you and some of which I haven't. And the ice cream truck is meant to be a representation of the destruction of my youth at a very young time in my life. So while I'm walking down this road to find love, the memories of the destruction of my youth get in the way. That's how I wanted to open the video, because I think it sets up the rest of the story. It allows you to imagine that you yourself are not just one person, you are so many. And that person inside of you has so many stories and memories and things to draw from, and they all affect your journey profusely. So I'm battered quite brutally at the beginning of the video, and by the end, I'm not battered, but I'm a bit strange. So it's not meant to be an answer, the video. It's meant to be a profuse number of questions.
Ugh. Was this at the MTV thing where she has the giant daffodil on her head? The premiere?
I think it was. I think
love
it
that.
was.
Because she's sitting there at the TRL. She's as you know, I've shared this with some of you, but it's her New York fans that have been waiting outside the studio for 12 hours. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's this quote touches so perfectly on who Gaga is during the Born This Way era, which is
Mhm.
Consummate artist, but also like sort of, and I don't mean this word in a negative connotation, but like desperate to say something, desperate for
Right.
it to mean something, but then turning around on that and being like, but it doesn't really mean anything. It's just a
Right.
question.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that that's really interesting. And again, like touches on this lineage of Born This Way music videos where there are these pieces of her past that seem to sort of like
Yeah.
start with like her Catholic upbringing in the Judas video and
Right.
move into her New York upbringing in the Edge of Glory
Edge of
video. And
Glory.
by Marry the Night, it's like her adult,
Right.
young adult trauma and shit.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's like, I mean, not to like name the elephant in the room, but like in the context of like Luke Carl and kind of
Mhm.
like her first like true love, and then this back and forth kind of, you know, she becomes famous, he becomes insecure. She's like, we can do this, you can be my rock star boyfriend. It's not really working.
right.
But the album is now out and the single is out, and it's like this song that was written about this person who she like fought for the relationship to work in this current state of her life, and it wasn't. And then it's like, oh, now I have to sing this song like every night
Right.
on tour and like on the radio. And then it's like the irony there is, in classic pop diva fashion, she falls in love with the hot model in the video, Taylor Kinney, which is like every diva has like dated the model or the backup dancer or the stylist or the creator. You know what I mean? Like that's a very classic like pop star diva moment.
It is interesting to think about this song as something that she loved so much that she was performing it on the Monster Ball months before this
Right.
album was even out.
Well, when her and Luke were still kind of
yes,
involved, you know?
exactly. And like even her saying on mic at the Monster Ball, like, this probably won't be on my album, so enjoy it while
Right.
you can. Like if like I think in her mind it was sort of like a Princess Di, you know?
Right.
Like, will this actually end up anywhere? I don't know. It's sort of living on the road. And it's interesting that
Right.
Fernando Garibay, who had so much to do with the like executive production of Born This Way, as well as what's his name?
DJ
I
White
forget. No, the other producer who was like a main guy on Born This Way. But neither of them is involved in this song, which I think is interesting. Like this is clearly an outlier in the track list and like has a very, very distinct sound compared to the rest of the album, even though it still like belongs in that like stadium anthem.
Well,
I mean, it
it's
was
very
born as a stadium anthem.
It's very Mutt Lange. Like
Totally.
his association with the song is what kind of makes it like, it's like when he was attached as a producer, then it's like, okay, now it's on the album. And then Gaga's
Totally.
like, you better learn it because I'm playing it every tour, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think we're getting this like Freudian Gaga when she's talking about like, how could I not talk about like the most significant love relationship that I've had in my life so far without getting in like showing some kind of display of like childhood trauma. Like it is connected. How can I talk about finding love without talking also about the ways that I've been hurt? You know, I think that's such an interesting element here.
Well, and then it's like she reframes it as like, as the song kind of takes on its life, and you know, her relationship with Luke is up in the air. It's like, it's about Lady Starlight, and it's about Breedlove, and it's about Brian Newman, and it's about her love of New York and that time, that period of her life. Like that's the like the you and I that she is longing for. Like that her yeah,
it like takes on a different shape as she needs it to. And I do just love that like this introduction character, who by the way we see throughout the video, is called the bride.
Yeah.
She's the one who is not wearing a wedding dress, which we'll get to. She's wearing this, she's like a New York businesswoman who's had to like replace body parts in order to get to Nebraska.
Yeah.
And she's the bride. Like it sort of suggests to me like there's a sacrifice or something, like for her to be that girl who's like walking miles and miles down the aisle, she'd have to completely change herself or something.
Yeah. And what I love is that she's the bride, even though like Mother at a later point in the video is literally getting married. And isn't that Cynthia's wedding dress? Or like
it is.
Yeah. So, which I love. And it's like, yes, this is me referencing my mother's wedding day where she's wearing blue blush.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
her bouquet is like a husk, a corn husk, which I love. She's like,
Right.
I just wanted to like honor my mother.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, again, just thinking about the naming of those characters and like how she conceives of herself as like her potential for bridehood is this like, again, like mistress of mayhem coded character at the front, and in a weird way seeing her in the wedding dress at the end almost feels like the most costume of everything in this video.
Yeah. And it's like an actual garment, like heirloom family garment. Yeah.
So let's get into the Jo Calderone of it all. We know that Jo Calderone was first introduced, I think, for Vogue Japan.
Yeah.
Nick Knight or Stephen Klein, one of them.
Go back and listen.
Shot her for Vogue Japan, and they were very like, it's not Gaga, like it's not
was it the
Gaga.
narrative that they like shot a bunch of photos and they submitted them to like a bunch of different publications, and then Vogue Japan was like, we'll do it, and it's like Nicola Formichetti was like working for the mag at the time. It's like, Diva, okay, yeah. They were like, yeah, we just sent out these photos of this anonymous model,
right? And that I think was in early or like mid 2010, maybe. I want to say.
Yeah.
So that was like well before this video was conceived. So bringing Jo Calderone back again in the video, and also for the iconic MTV music video performance, which we shouldn't touch on because that deserves an episode of its own, I think.
Yeah.
But we move along in the video to see Gaga in her nymph look, which is essentially like a slip.
It's so beautiful. I do know that that's Hussein Chalaine because I'm obsessed with that garment. I'm obsessed with this look. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. It's like somehow she's in nudes, but it's like effervescent and like she's glowing from every surface.
Like
it's like shiny nude.
Yeah, it's this like metallic-y, silvery, beigey. It's fluorescent beige.
It's like it's like a shiny taupe.
Yeah, and she's got the orange lip, which I love, and the makeup, the brow. I just love her with like the mid part too.
So they're in a cornfield and she's barefoot playing the piano, and who is sitting atop her upright piano but the one and only Mr. Jo Calderone. Smoking like a chimney.
Swinging beer.
Yeah, acting a fool while she's sort of serenading him to like the first verse of the song.
Well, and I guess we should mention that interspliced, since the start of the video, there are these quick jump cuts to like the bride, the mother look that we mentioned, and then this like woman in peril in dark hair, just like strapped to a mechanical table thing and like submerged in liquid, and like we get these exterior shots of a barn, and it's like, what's going on? But we haven't really gotten an answer yet there. But
right.
She's in the world too.
Yes, there's like a lot of, and it's not long before we also see this like barn hooker lady with the long teal hair and the Versace like body harness.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Versace. It's Versace coated body harness, like doing the choreo. There's like a lot in this video. And I know that fans will, as we spoke about in the Edge of Glory episode, like talk about how the scrapped mermaid concept was forced into You and I. And I'm like, I love how much is going on here because it feels so incredibly well done and balanced. Like the edit is incredible. Like I don't feel like we're getting too much of Jo Calderone or too much of the mermaid story. Like it's all kind of perfect. And I don't feel, as much as there are these distinct characters, I'm like, they are all so Gaga. And I love that.
Right.
Yeah, this is easily one of my favorite Gaga videos of all time. I think it's honestly a movie.
Yeah, it's a short film.
Yeah, in a way that doesn't like have to be 16 minutes.
Right.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but going back to kind of the bride and the idea of her being named the bride there, I think of it in the context of like the Bride of Frankenstein. And if Taylor Kinney is Frankenstein, the scientist, and then he makes her into a monster,
Yeah.
or tries to transform her from one state of being into another so they can be together. What I think is fun about that concept and where it gets a little narratively confusing is like she's going from like woman to woman or mermaid to woman
Mm-hmm.
to, like we're seeing her in these various, well, give it up first of all for this, like I think it's like cork or wood or whatever, the high neck sculptural kind of cage like thing she's
Totally.
in. Again, very mayhem coded, like way
Mm-hmm.
before we even knew.
It reminds
And
me of like you mix the Scarecrow and the Tin Man from The Wizard of
yeah.
Oz.
Well, I was just gonna say there's something that I love about this. Like, first of all, the natural lighting in the barn is gorgeous. Like the way that
Mm-hmm.
they're shooting is beautiful and gives it this kind of like otherworldly feeling and like with the color grading, but also it's this like mechanized, like future vibe, but also like ancient past technology, not ancient, but like dated. Like it's giving
Yeah.
like 1800s steampunk, but also like
Right.
there's a mermaid, but also like we're wearing 11-inch heels, so it's contemporary, but it could
Mm-hmm.
also be the 1800s. Like
Yes. It's
yeah,
like absolutely like industrial revolution. It's absolutely like
Civil
farm
War,
love affair. And
like
I think that quote from Rolling Stone touches on it perfectly. Like it completely remixes so many tropes of like Americana, kind of like romance and like gothic Americana.
yeah.
I'm like Ethel Cain is in the background of this music video somewhere.
Totally. And like you
She's
say that
she's one of the nymphs.
the Tin Man where it's like she's in the ball cap with
Hmm.
all the bobby pins and Taylor
And
Kinney's
he
just
has
like
like a syringe.
syringe,
Yeah.
and it's just like he's just like blowing air into her mouth, and
Hmm.
it's like, and they get like a close-up shot. It's like, what are we doing? And he just has a table of like laboratory beakers filled with like blue
Yeah.
liquids. Like it's so campy and funny.
Yes, I love it. And it
And then
is interesting that like you mentioned about this like mermaid to human thing. It's only like not only, it's like 2/3 into the video that we see Gaga's naked body on a table wrapped in like cellophane.
right,
And he's like Taylor Kinney, the mad scientist, seems to be like mourning her body and kind of like stroking it. And it's like such a brief flash image that makes me feel like the story is I'm a mermaid, you're trying to turn me into a human, and in doing that, you killed me.
mm,
And the kind of thing that we get at the end, which is Gaga in her mother's wedding dress with Taylor Kinney kissing all over her, to me is like kind of a dream of what they could have had, you know?
right.
But ultimately, she's
Okay,
done
so
for.
I read it as, and again, we're hopping all over the place, but
Hmm.
if you were listening to this podcast, you've seen this video a million times, and you know
Yes.
that it's hard not to talk about all of it at
Also,
once.
we do
But
have this on loop while we're
yes, while we're
recording. So,
so the way that I'm reading it is like because we got those glimpses early in the video of like this dark-haired brunette Gaga and the like cork thing strapped on the table, and then we see her. It cut to her like floating in formaldehyde or something, and then like mourning that body. Then we see her in the tub as Yüyi. So I almost see it as Taylor Kinney is like trying to save her and is like, what if I make her aquatic? Like, what if I submerge
interesting.
her in water until she learns how to breathe under there? And then I'll turn her legs into a mermaid. Like, it could go the other
Actually,
way
that makes
too.
way more sense. I mean, maybe not way more
But
sense, but
it's an
like,
inversion
yeah,
of the Edge of Glory narrative where it was like
yeah,
mermaid to human
totally,
to
totally.
like be
I think
together.
maybe that's why I always read it that way, was
Right.
like, because of all of the lore and background before this video even came out about what the mermaid storyline was.
Right.
And I guess like there is some like contextual bias of like Born This Way sort of being like each of these videos touching on like resistance to play the role that someone is asking me to, or that
Right.
like is expected of me. And so I always read it as like, this person loves me, but how much can he love me if he wants to change me? You know,
Right.
like that was sort of, and like changing me from the thing that is like quote unquote a monster
Right.
into something that's more lovable and like truly fuckable. Let's read this quote. Gaga said, "A part of the metaphor of this scene is that you can't have sex with a mermaid. Love that. Sometimes in love, you just can't make it work. No matter what you do, there's this giant boundary between you and someone else. So that's what it's all about, perceiving there's something magical inside of you that you can make it work.
Mm. But they do have sex. I
Yeah.
will tell you that because I remember that GIF was on tumblr.com.
Mm-hmm.
That 2 seconds, a little booty
Taylor
cheek.
Kinney's fine,
Yeah.
muscular back and ass.
Just doing a little pelvic thrust
On
into
our
Miss
girl.
Yüyi's tail. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's iconic.
Yeah, no, it really is. And that's when it's like, what are you doing after this? Do you want to go get pizza? Like,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally.
She was like, I'll go back to your beach shack. Like, yeah. And
Right. I mean, I remember her in so many interviews at the time saying that like he was on set for her video and he like, you know, not in a scary way, but kind of like kissed her without that being kind of
scripted. Yeah.
scripted or like said that it was okay to do. And I think she found that to be very bold and ballsy. And
Yeah.
we know she can go for that type.
Right. Well, and it's also just like in the context of kind of where she's at in her career and given the context of like the origins of this song. Yeah, bitch, I want the hot model on set, and like if he's into me, okay, let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Like I don't think she was expecting to fall in love with him, and like I
Right.
think that is where that particular love story and why it hurt so much when it ended, because I don't think they ever really thought, like I don't think Gaga thought that the hot model from her music video was going to be the person that she felt like she was going to
Right.
spend her life with.
Right. It's like such a testament to like, I always thought like he's way more of a freak than he seems, and
Right.
she's way more of just like
A girl.
Yeah. Just like a regular girl, Italian girl from New York.
Right.
Joanne jump scare.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much. I mean, speaking of Joanne, this is Gaga like first kind of like country Gaga that we ever get.
Well, okay, so let's talk about country Gaga because we need to talk about Miss Barnhooker because that is what I
Yes.
think I look like in my head. Like we know
You mean Miss
famously
long teal hair,
sexy dancer, hooker,
yeah, like
strappy,
sex
yeah.
sling
It's
body
like
harness.
we know, for better or for worse, I'm a beer girl. It's like this is me in a straight establishment with like a country music song comes on and I'm like 4 to 5 deep. It's like that is who I think I am.
Well, that's who you are.
Right. Well, you've seen me.
Yes.
You can attest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
what did she say? Perceiving there's something magical inside of you that you can make it work.
Me trying to like survive going out in like Gold Coast or like Old Town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, and that's how I feel about The Bride. Like this opening, that's why I was going on and on about it. I feel
Right.
so they're just like Gaga personas, Gaga fashion moments, Gaga movement, vocal moments. I am not a singer, bitch. I cannot dance like her dancers do, or she does,
you can
whatever.
sing and dance.
I can twerk a little bit, or twirl a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't twerk.
Well,
Redacted.
I mean, you are keeping the grind train alive in the year
Yes, I am,
2026.
single-handedly.
So, yeah.
But like there are these like Gaga personas, Gaga moments where you're like, that is me.
Yeah.
So that is me.
Which
And
is
she captured my soul and my essence.
Which is
and
funny
I feel
because
that way about The Bride.
2 of my that is me are in this video. It's the Barnhooker and the Nymph, which I feel like they are their own like dueling
Totally.
twins.
Totally.
They're mayhem coded. It's like that's the same
Yes.
girl.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, and I think that's what's so fun about this video for that reason is, like I said, each one of them, she really is acting. Like
Right.
like there is like a different energy in each of the kind of characters that she introduces here. And the fact that she even like called them characters in a different way,
Right.
you know?
And it's really on display in the House of You videos that there is like a very
Totally.
distinct kind of, you know,
Method.
embodiment. Yeah, totally.
Mhm. And I mean the you know, Yüyi goes on to be a piece of the Born This Way lore in a way that exists beyond this video. And I think that is kind of also a testament to how like embodied she feels in that role as sort of like, I don't know, we talk a lot about Gaga's tours opening with her in like this constricted thing that she has to break out of. But when we're talking about the reality of being in a mermaid tale and performing, there's like that's a real life thing. It's not like set piece. It's like she can't move her legs beyond flapping her tail.
Right.
Like there's
Right.
something about Gaga that really fascinates me when like there is a part of her that likes, I think, that constraint on her work. And there's something about Yüyi and like the gills and the tail and like all of it that sort of forces her energy elsewhere. It's the same thing we were talking about with Requiem, where like you're standing here and you're playing instruments, you're not fucking around.
Right.
Like, how does that energy get channeled in different ways when you have some kind of constraint on your body, on the way the performance has to be, on the staging? And I mean, I think when you're as creative and as like expansive as Gaga, a constraint is what you need. A character is sometimes what you need to like channel. And I feel like that's what's going on here. And I would argue that You and I is sort of the video from the Born This Way era that to me, should I be controversial?
Please.
I think it is like, I'm not saying this as a little monster, as a fan, as a host of this podcast, like as an artist. I think it is the best video from the Born This Way era, personally. And I think it's just because it speaks to my own stuff. But like,
Yeah, no, I mean, I know why you're saying that feels controversial because there are many visual moments from the Born This Way era that are iconic. But this is kind of it's the summation of the like Gaga as hybrid, like
mm,
in many a way.
that's what I was getting at.
Like
Gaga is hybrid.
yeah,
Yes.
like literally, but also figuratively, even including like the fusion of genre and like her being like,
Mm-hmm.
what if I am on rock or country radio? And people being like, I don't know about that. And, 2011 was still like, not saying that artists haven't been making like genre defying work or genre bending, but like at the time, the radio wasn't really ready for that or that wasn't the norm. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like, where does a song like this go? And so when, Gaga was doing like country radio press tour stops and like playing live on shows that had more of like a rock focus or country focus or so it's like this song bridges kind of that like musically but also visually and like in Vinud said it is the bridge between like fashion and rock and roll which are like super informative to the Born This Way era and aesthetic. Like
Totally.
those two concepts, like the way you feel and the way you look.
Yes. And that is so well said. And I think like we could even put on our little manager caps and talk about, like we did with the Edge of Glory video, like the decision to make that a single after Judas. And obviously, like, I'm not ever saying that any song on Born This Way is like bad or better than the other. But when we're talking about kind of like public consumption, the way that the Edge of Glory did something that like Judas could not do, that
Mhm.
like Born This Way in many ways could not do. I feel like You and I is sort of an extension of that in a lot of ways too, where it's
Definitely.
like, wow, people are really responding to hearing Gaga on this like E Street Band ass song.
Well, and it
Yeah.
definitely is, and I mean, that's why it went from, like, when Gaga's playing the song in 2010 on tour and being like, I'll never put this out. I'll never make anyone pay for this. It'll
Mhm.
never be on iTunes. And then it's like, this song is going to be on my new album. And then The Edge of Glory happens. And then it's like, guess what? It's also the next single. Like,
Right.
they were still trying to kind of chase. It's an interesting period of time for Gaga, the pop star, who is still like fully playing the game and kind of defining the game at the moment.
Totally.
And like this interesting positioning of like, it's some of her most critically acclaimed work, but then also her most polarizing to date too.
Mhm.
So
Totally.
where do you
And
go from
then
there?
again,
Right.
like if this is the like complete climax, like when we're just talking about these music videos, the official visuals, this is like the peak of Gaga as hybrid, Gaga as like you said, beyond just fashion and character, but also in terms of music, thinking about where we're going after this, where Gaga is not playing a mermaid, not alluding to trauma, not like dancing around much, but instead actually telling her story in the
Mm,
last music video of
right.
this whole kind of era. I think it's an an interesting journey to talk about because I feel like, I don't know, it just like escalated to, not in a bad way, in an amazing way, to this point of like You and I, and there's a mermaid plot line, and she's kissing herself as Jo Calderone, and what does that mean? And she's wearing her mom's wedding dress, and all of these like headlines about this video, to then
Right.
her being like, let me actually like break it down for you a little bit. Like, I think it's an interesting tactic, and I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot there for me that I'm still kind of parsing out, and I think that we'll get to when we really talk about Marry the Night and like why that happened when it did.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think You and I is one of those songs. It's like The Edge of Glory
Yeah. I
in
was just
that.
gonna say, I think I just caught something for the first time ever, just like looking at this video playing in the background. It's like the scene where Taylor Kinney is doing the like Tin Man thing.
Mhm.
There, it's at like 2:29. There is like a mannequin form in the back that looks like it has like a brunette wig on it. And Gaga like
Yeah.
doesn't have a wig on. So it's like
Mm,
it's interesting with this kind of like we see this dark hair saran wrapped thing woman hybrid. It's like
right.
is
It's
he like
like
animating her and like
that.
electrifying
Yeah.
her and she's
That
coming to life and like
that feels even like it confuses the narrative even
about
more
the
to me.
yeah, right, right,
Right. Like,
right.
what
It's like
is the goal
is this completely
of?
different than the mermaid? And interesting
Right.
that this entity person creature doesn't have its own character,
Right. It's like comparatively less content in the video,
but
but
is also like the through line through
totally,
the beginning to the end.
totally.
Like and isn't
Like
really
when she spits
named
her
or
tooth out.
yep, yeah, which I love. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like in terms of the lineage or like the legacy of Born This Way, this song is a lot like The Edge of Glory in that I think that like gays and girls and pop stan people kind of forget the magnitude that this song was
Yeah.
at the time. And like when it comes on, and we can speak from personal experience from our party, it's like people kind of lose their shit. People know every word to this in a different way. And like, again, it's just a testament to why singles are made singles. Like
Right.
they get worn out on the radio and we all get sick of it. And then when you hear it 15 years later, you're like, this song is incredible. Like, it's a perfect song.
Well, and a testament to like the power of like a road song, like you said, like
Hmm.
she was touring this around and just kind of playing it. And then it got to the point where it was like, oh, we're going to cut the studio vocal like after a show, just like backstage on the
Right.
piano and just
And
send it
not
to
in,
Mutt
yeah,
and see what he does. Like, like,
not a critical standout when the album dropped and like
right,
there were reviews and stuff. There wasn't like this. The most interesting part is You and I. Like that, it was
right.
barely talked about in that way. So it's really interesting. And it, again, like the kind of back to back of here's my Springsteen influence song
Hmm.
and here's my Queen sample.
Right,
Like
right, right.
it's
Yeah,
it's interesting to see the way that Born This Way was like gospel,
right.
and like it was liturgy for her fans, but it was also such a device. I guess this was what I'm getting at. It's such a device to educate the masses on her talent beyond dance pop
Totally.
and her talent beyond just her being a fad. And I
Right.
think, yeah, that hybrid vehicle, again, speaking about Gaga as hybrid, you know, cult leader for her Little Monsters and generational talent at the same
Right.
time, and like pushing both of those things
Right. Well, and
successfully.
I think about it too as like she's playing as she often does to this kind of like my past is the chick who used to dance at the bar at the rock club and like
Mhm.
the last time the public had seen her in the Edge of Glory, it was like, oh, she's got her black and white hair and little Versace moment. And it's like, she wasn't necessarily presenting like hot and sexy. And now
Right.
this is like hot and sexy, but also strange and bizarre. Like,
Right.
she's like the barn hooker, but has like teal hair. And then she's
Right.
like naked, but a mermaid. like,
Yeah, and it's a
it's
horror
like
movie.
this
Like
yeah,
it's freaky.
Yeah,
in a
the
different way.
uncanny beauty. And, like, the nymph, I think she looks so gorgeous and beautiful, but then it's, like, some dude being like, "Where's your eyebrows?" You know? Like
Right, right. It's funny. I love this. I mean, we could talk about the beauty from Born This Way era as a whole, maybe like pre-tour kind of beauty. The way that she could be 21
Mhm.
or like 51
Right.
in all of these looks in this video
I
is something
know.
that I love. And we talk about Gaga as a chameleon. And like again, beyond the character, beyond the embodiment of it, beyond the music, it's like just energetically, there's so much depth on display in like in this video specifically that I think I don't know. I'm like, this is her audition for like American Horror Story or something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
for
Well, it
real.
does I think it does show her capacity to be seen, like you said, as, like, simultaneously her, but then also beyond what we've come to understand Gaga to be at this point.
Totally.
Which I think we've been saying at the end of every, like, video as we talk about the series, which I think is just, like, a testament to how impactful Born This Way was for, like, pop culture and the general public, but also for Gaga too, as she, like, really
Hmm.
kind of understood her power and platform and capacity to, like, keep going.
Yeah, yeah, and like again, it's not that Gaga was the first mainstream musician or artist to sort of like harness the power of transformation. But I would argue that she was the first to, like, note its spiritual
Right,
the necessity of it in a spiritual sense, beyond her
yeah,
role as an artist, but just as a person. And, like, she puts her money where her mouth is, where
right,
she's like, "Born This Way" is this album about
right,
reinvention, and you were born the way that you are right now in every moment, and tomorrow when
right,
you change your hair, and it's not just about hair, but and she's committed to doing
right.
that in the throughout this entire story, you know?
It makes me think of there's a lyric on the new Rosalia album, who Rosalia is another noted little monster, that is, "I was born a rebel,
Mm,
and I rebel to be born again."
there you go.
That's the
That's exactly
ethos.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm. And, like, again, it as a spiritual thing, as, like, a deeply personal, like, it's a thing about her soul, about being a
Mhm.
chameleon, not just because it's, as she was accused of early in her career, not just because it's, like, profitable, but
Mhm.
because it, like, saves her from her own scary ice cream truck man. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Like,
Who
and that's the
also
thing.
hands her a porcelain doll.
Totally.
So
Cue plastic doll.
and that bitch is strung up in the Dead Dance music video.
Totally. We should
They said
honestly we
y
make a fan music video. It's
yeah.
like it's like a fan cam of the little doll from this
Oh my god,
video,
yes.
plastic doll. Um, no, but yeah, exactly. Like the projection of image as armor, but also as like the most vulnerable thing you can do. Being the motorcycle, being the woman, being the piece of nature, being the she's not just two people in the scene where she's playing the piano and Jo Calderone is, you know, sitting atop it. She's also the cornfield and the sky
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the hay that her feet are on. You know, like she's the
yeah,
piano too. And I think that's what oozes out of this video to me is that like she's in a state that is not hers to claim. She's in
mhm,
a environment that is not like what you associate with Gaga, and yet every piece of it like feels like her universe. Like she invented the place where she filmed this somehow.
right,
Like she spawned it out of her brain. And I
right,
think that's so fascinating. And I just remember too, like when she was filming this video, she was on radio stations and
mhm,
so many people thought that she was like, you know, like, "Don't you have family that lives here?" And she's like, "No, not really." Like,
right,
Aren't you visiting your uncle?" Or like,
right, and she's
what
like,
are you
"No."
doing? Like, didn't you I heard like there were so many rumors about where she was eating and all this stuff,
Right, right,
and she was like truly just there for like 2 days, but
right,
yeah. Anyway, bringing Gaga to a place like tangibly, like a physical location that like she had never ever been associated to previously, I think is really interesting.
right.
I wanna see more of her there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we get it a little bit when, you know, she gets, like, partner pilled and,
Totally.
like, because when you were in Minneapolis, right?
Mhm.
That's where, and she was like, "This is my home now because of Michael and his family." And I
Totally.
feel like she was like that about Pennsylvania, right? With Taylor Kinney. Like when she
Mhm.
was like campaigning for Joe Biden, she's like, "I spent a lot of time here." She's like cracking beers in her like camo and like
Yeah,
the
totally,
boots and all that. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And it again, it like loops into this like chameleon soul thing, and which I'm like totally ripping from like a Lana Del Rey monologue, that
Mm,
phrase, but also like how that relates to place and
mhm.
her being this like New Yorker, but also this LA girl. And also like there's like a restlessness to, or like at this time, there was like such a restlessness to Gaga's like sense of place, I feel like,
Right.
because of how much promo and press she was doing, that like
She like
directly led into the song Gypsy for art
right,
pop. Like,
right. She
yeah,
belonged to the road and the stage and the lifestyle and
yeah, yeah.
but then simultaneously it was like wherever she was, she could make home because she like needed to. Or
Right. And like even just like the songs on this album being recorded like on a tour bus or backstage and all that
right.
stuff. It's just so crazy. And I think there's something really raw about the You and I vocal because it was
Yes.
recorded literally like
Backstage.
after
Yeah.
a Monster Ball show.
Right.
So she kind of like got her warm up doing it once. And
Right.
then but yeah, I mean, I know we haven't really touched too much on the like like I don't know, like we could say so much more, but I think at this stage, like you said, we've ended each episode sort of saying the same thing. And I think it'll be interesting to talk about Marry the Night again, where she sort of like we could call it strips back,
Mm,
but like it's so different to me than the rest of the videos from this era
right.
that like to talk further about the way that You and I like, emphasizes like what Born This Way the album is about, or to talk about like her characters or her personas and all of that stuff. Like we've done that.
Mm,
And so I think it'll be interesting to talk more in our next episode about Gaga as a like an autobiographer,
yeah.
and like what
Totally.
that looks like as opposed to like writing a gothic dream, if you will.
Yeah. Which I would say that this is an American Gothic dream.
Absolutely it is. Again, this is the disease's little sister
100%.
or big sister. I don't know.
I guess. Or
But any final thoughts?
ancestor. I guess just like generally about You and I, this song, I think it's always a highlight of a Gaga show when she bangs it out on the piano. I miss it.
It's all I wanted her to do at our Mayhem
I
ball.
know.
I
I
am so happy
know.
that we got hair, but like,
I know. Yeah. I mean, it's just like a testament to her ability to just like write a really good fucking song.
totally, totally. It's perfect, and it's another one that she, if you look up live performances of this from TV and radio and stuff, like the number of ways that she does this song is pretty astounding.
The whole jazz
hmm
reinterpretation for the MTV 2011 VMA promo, like
Yeah.
so fucking good.
And like
Yeah.
all the weird kind of like quick drag versions
Mm-hmm.
of like this video that kind
Yeah.
of come out that
Yeah.
are like really fun and silly and kind of campy, but also
Yeah.
so serious
Yes.
is like really fun. And like hearing her kind of toy with how rock am I taking it with the instrumentation and my vocal versus how soft am I going, and sometimes those
Right.
being at odds in these performances too.
And I love when she like tries to like ad lib too much or like talk too much
hmm
between musical like stanzas and breaks, like in live performances where she's like, "Everybody put your motherfucking drinks up in the bar right now." Like,
yeah
yeah, it's like instead of like put your drinks up, like she like, "You
yeah
motherfuckers better," like, yeah.
yeah
Or
You
like
and I
what
is one of
the
those songs.
or she like falls off the piano bench in that like infamous
hmm
performance, right? When she's like all over the place, rolling around on the floor.
yeah, I don't know. You and I
You
is
know,
like special in a different way.
yeah,
And I think we touched on so many of the reasons why it is. But honestly, I think I would encourage any listener to like add it to your current playlist if you haven't listened to it in a while, and like go to church with it, because
Yeah.
it's a spiritual
Oh,
song.
totally. I'm like, it's a song that I'm like, can my headphones get any louder? Like by the
Right. And
end,
like,
like I'm
could
like,
this be 3 minutes longer, please?
right, yeah,
And yeah, like again, like the kind of like living legend thing with like Brian May being involved kind of
hmm
like added to her credibility and in some people's eyes. And I don't know, I have a feeling that we'll have more to say about You and I as we like do more chewed episodes and talk about some
totally.
of those live performances, especially I think something that's like on the tip of my tongue that I am avoiding is the VMAs,
Yes, I know.
because I think that that really informs like the video and that live performance are in like weird ass conversation with each other.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess I digress.
Well, I guess just stay tuned for more from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What should we say?
I don't know. Well, if you got to the end of this episode, thanks for listening.
And go watch the You and I video a bunch of times, like we
Mhm.
just did,
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm still like, as it's just playing in the background, I'm like, oh, I guess I never really noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And shout out to the fucking dancers. These ladies
Yes.
are killing it. They look incredible. The looks are so good. Her and her little Capizio ballet flats, her little
Yeah.
ballet slipper,
Everything about this, like everybody involved, the color grading, the editing, like it's
her silly
incredible.
runs, her iconic silly
Mm-hmm.
runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget, a pearl a day keeps your insecure model actor boyfriend turn fiance turn ex-lover away.
Absolutely, it does, including his Ducati jacket.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for listening.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.